76 suit.
You're watching News Channel 5, your news and information leader.
Delivering hope. A massive relief effort begins to reach desperate tsunami victims. But flash floods compound the misery in some areas. The story of an American family safe at home after surviving the tsunami. And a sneak peek at what pop culture promises for the new year.
This is the CBS Evening News with Russ Mitchell.
And good evening. 2005 begins with an unprecedented global effort to help the millions of desperate tsunami survivors. Here's the latest. The relief campaign is struggling as the affected area is whipped by heavy rain, flash floods, and magnitude 6.5 aftershocks. The total of aid donations was pushed to over $2 billion today, when Japan pledged $500 million in assistance. The United States is promising $350 million. The U.S. is also launching one of its biggest military relief missions ever. Helicopters from the aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln began distributing aid today to remote areas of Sumatra. This is the confirmed number of tsunami deaths is expected to surpass 124,000. We have 3 reports this evening from the disaster zone, beginning with Lee Cowan in the devastated Indonesian town Banda Aceh.
Nowhere is the smell of death more pungent than in the islands of Indonesia, where the number of fatalities from last week's double-barreled hit is now expected to soar past 100,000. Indonesia's president admitted today the final death toll may never be known, with hundreds, perhaps even thousands of bodies swept back out to sea. What is most disturbing, though, nearly 7 days after the waves hit, is the almost routine way that death is now discovered. People just walk by, or they step over, or sometimes ignore the bodies laying in the streets, simply because there are so many. What isn't being bagged is being burned, in a race to beat what health experts fear could be an epidemic of disease, made worse by seasonal rains. Desperately needed aid is beginning to arrive, with shipments now coming in from U.S. helicopters in the Indian Ocean. But food and water are beginning to stack up at the island's airport, in part because there's little or no way to distribute it. Even though the food's here, it's hard to get it out to the people who need it.
I think so.
A television station here was hoping to transport some of the aid itself to the hardest hit areas. But before they got out the door with it, a line of needy had already formed.
People are coming here. They're looking for food. And we just cannot say no.
And even if the food does arrive here, the island is still woefully unprepared to deal with the other cleanup, the mud and debris, acres of it everywhere. That will be the cleanup after the bodies. Russ.
Lee, with many of these areas still inaccessible, how do authorities plan to get aid to the folks living there?
The problem is the logistics and some of the infrastructure in order to get those supplies out to places they need it. There are bridges out, there are roads out. We're talking about an effort that's not just going to be getting food to one place. It's going to be helicopters making airdrops. It's going to be boats making sea drops in order to get to these very inaccessible areas. So this is a huge, huge effort, not just on one level, but a host of them.
Lee Cowan in Banda Aceh, Indonesia. Take care and thank you. Secretary of State Colin Powell and Florida Governor Jeb Bush are headed to Indonesia tomorrow. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan follows later in the week. Today, the first wave of American military muscle arrived in the region, bringing supplies and hope. Barry Peterson has the latest from Thailand.
This was one of America's first missions of mercy, an Air Force C-130 with a plane load of injured tourists from resorts in southern Thailand. Like so many others, they were caught in the terror of the tsunami. Like so many others, they needed not just medical help, but a moment of comfort. For Flight Surgeon Major Gary Starr, the trauma of the injured cut to his heart.
Just looking at the little subtle things around you and seeing people's eyes, knowing what's been going on, I think